We're 4 games deep with one more left to go before we put day 3 of this first week of the American Dota League behind us. Artyk going to be meeting up with Smeagol, I should say. Now, for those who are confused, by the way, saw some questions in the chat about who Smeagol is, what's the deal with him, so on and so forth. Smeagol is formerly known as Fnatic in A. They did split from the organization and now playing under the name Smeagol as they look for a new sponsor. So for right now, though, the name on the mind going to be Artyk. Artyk coming off of a decent showing, but at the same time, right now, these two teams, these are the matches that really interest me more so than anything. I mean, I've spoken at length about how much I admire the team's dedication to improving and all the work that they put in, and the fact they're willing to come out and test themselves against true top-tier talent and Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid, Dignitas, the 3 big, heavy-hitting names in the tournament roster. And, there is going to be some beatdowns, but there's still a lot that they can learn in general from the game, or from those games. But these are the matches that are really interesting. These are the matches where these teams who are playing against the other professional squads, what they learn, what they refine, what they are able to glean from playing against that kind of a squad in a competitive environment. Now they get to test it on each other. So Smeagol and Artyk going to be squaring off here in our last game of the day. A reminder that while we will be winding down following the conclusion of this game today, we'll be back in action tomorrow starting at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm pretty sure that's right. 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Had to double check. Usually a good thing for the caster to know, right? But, of course, 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That'll be 1900 Central European Time. So hope you guys will tune in for that. Going to be a long day. Going to have 6 best of ones coming up tomorrow. And leading us off tomorrow will be Insight versus Menix. And, yeah, a lot of these teams that are on that next tier down being tomorrow. And should be some really interesting games to look forward to. But Smeagol and Artyk, again, ready to roll. Lifestealer and EO banned out by Smeagol. Artyk not going to let us see the Darkseer or the Bat Rider. It's been a while, actually, since I've seen a Darkseer ban come out that quickly. Darkseer is one of those heroes that's still very high on the quote-unquote tier list, but you just don't see him banned down in the first phase all that much anymore. Between the Lone Druid, the EO, some teams will ban the Magnus, then there's the Bat Rider, the Nyx Assassin, which we just see first picked up by Artyk. Many teams have just moved on in terms of the heroes they want to prioritize and taking out of the pool. And especially with teams learning more about each other as an individual squad. For example, Clockwork, very, very commonly a first ban in the first phase against Team Liquid just because of how good Bulba actually is on that hero. But anyway, Nyx Assassin, first picked here. The Lone Druid still available. Magnus is available. Rubik is available. Shadow Demon is available. So Smeagol really can go in any direction they want to go. Offensive, defensive. They can look to grab a Gyrocopter perhaps just to have that nice flexibility. Gyro still remains one of the most flexible heroes in the game in terms of what you want to do with him in your lanes and in the mid game. Can still be run as a support. You don't really see that as much as you used to. Gyro just too good as a carry to often... you don't want to say waste that pick, but at the same time, you pick a Gyro, get something out of him. He can also do really well in mid or any solo situation for that matter. Has a great lane harass for relatively low mana cost with the flat cannon. And Smeagol will go ahead and take out the Lone Druid. Now, seeing them go ahead and grab the Druid really isn't a surprise, though. I really do wonder if Druid is going to remain as popular as he is right now when the armlet starts functioning so differently. And they are going to take the Magnus, too. I really like that. I like just getting your core up. Let Artyk show you what they want to do with their next 2 picks, with their first 3. Because right now, I mean, they're wide open, too. Nyx Assassin could be a 4 or 5. Support could also wind up mid. Can go absolutely anywhere. But, yeah, getting the Magnus up, having the Empower to toss onto the Bear is certainly going to help his relevancy, help him get and feel relevant much more soon. Seeing the Druid, though, now what Artyk has to try and anticipate is whether or not Smeagol's going to want to offlane that Druid, and that might be something they know based on experience against this team, or if they don't, they have to, of course, be conscious of the idea of an offensive tri-lane. Druid really does crave a solo lane, wants it one way or the other, and tends to thrive in the solo safe lane when he's in a favorable matchup, of course. There are some heroes that can give him problems. Gyrocopter is a good example. Like right now, if I'm in Arctic shoes, I'm probably going to go ahead and grab a Gyrocopter in a mid, keep my links, and there's a Clockwork that can work as well. That could just as well be their off lane, and again, depends on what Smeagol wants to do. But I would really love a Gyrocopter pickup here. Gyro does pretty well against the Druid because of cooldown, because of Rocket Barrage. The magic damage lets him become relevant much more early in the game than a Druid usually is. And then as the game goes longer, you have Flak Cannon. As you build those right-click items, get his attack damage up, then he can really start to melt through them. They're going to go ahead and grab a Visage, though, so still pretty wide open in terms of their lanes. And just, I mean, unless that's a mid-Clockwork, probably foregoing their mid, Nyx Assassin as well. In fairness, though, Smash did play a sick good mid Nyx Assassin against EG, and really Artyk was really dominating that game, at least in one aspect of the game. They were moving across the map, getting kills, and making things happen on the map. The problem is they were not taking any secondary and tertiary goals off of it. EG had the ability to just keep fighting and losing supports and losing and losing and losing, and JO the entire time farming his absolute butt off. Ended up doubling up the PA who was showing up for these fights. And see what the playstyle they were using in that situation, bringing your whole team to fight, there's nothing wrong with that, especially since they had a chin picked. I mean, hell, that's one of the things you want to do. You want to be putting that lineup through its paces at 10 to 12 minutes in, which is when they opened up a gigantic kill lead. Went up to 15-5 at some point. Against Evil Geniuses. Pretty sure it was right in that frame of time. And the only problem is they would take a kill, do some damage, get a few kills, then fall back and farm. And that's not what you want to do. I mean, if EG's invading you, you have to react to it, of course, but you have to be willing to take those secondary and tertiary goals, and it just didn't happen. Back to this game, though, Bane and Rubik banned out by Smeagol, two very, very smart bans, getting rid of the Bane just because of how confounding he is for Druid. That frees the solo off lane up a little bit more reliably for the Druid if they want to put him there. Rubik taken out. Obviously, they don't want Artyk stealing reverse polarity. And at this point, Rubik and Magnus have both been in the game so long, there's not a professional player, even a semi-professional player, that is not going to know how to position themselves and how to have a good chance to steal an RP from Mag. So just banning out the counters to their heroes so far. Love the Shadow Demon last pick for Smeagol. Just such a strong hero who does so well in so many situations. Really does an excellent job of negating Clockwork, at least in part. Clockwork, if he manages to hook one of your teammates, get the cogs down, then you just disrupt your teammate at least to buy him some time. Artyk, on the other hand, does not want to see any synergy, does not want to see an offensive tri-lane, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Leshrac, Lina, the two best heroes arguably to synergize with the Shadow Demon in any sort of laning phase, defensive or offensive, because of their ability to follow the disruption up with either Lightstrike Array or the Split Earth, and Juggernaut just thrives, is an excellent hero coming into the offensive tri-lane. But Artyk, again, having shown us that they have no qualms with running the Nyx Assassin mid. Their lanes are actually a lot more wide open than they would seem. They have two heroes that can go mid. Clockwork serves really solidly as an off lane as well. But looks like Artyk really wants that Druid to wind up in the off lane, or at the very least, wants Smeagol to have to pick what they consider to be second-tier heroes in terms of trying to construct an offensive tri-lane. Now, Smeagol will be wanting to grab another carry at some point. The Gyrocopter is still available. And that's going to be the question. Do you ban the Gyro now, or do you let Artyk have a chance to pick him? They're going to ban the Spectre. And banning the Spectre, I mean, right now, what Artyk's lineup actually looks a lot like a Team Liquid lineup. And Spectre definitely could fit into it, no problem. A very, very potent late-game carry. The fact that they have the reach and the gank potential of a Nyx Assassin, a Clockwork, and a Visage, you don't want to have to deal with the global presence of a Spectre, but they do get the Gyro. That's what I was talking about. Smeagol, you know, I think whenever I look at this, the issue I have with that, if I'm in the captain chair for Smeagol, I go, okay, we're going to ban the Gyrocopter. And if they decide, like if we ban the Gyrocopter and they pick Spectre, which they banned out because they didn't want Artyk to have it, my thought process is going to be Spectre's awful in lane. And we've seen it time and time again. Already seen it in the D2L. You can bully her around so ridiculously bad. Her lane presence is next to nothing.
5 seconds
We've got a Shadow Demon, a Mag, and a Druid. Why don't we just pick a Luna plus 1 support to go with our Shadow Demon and go ahead and offensive tri-lane and make that Spectre farm into an offensive tri-lane? Why don't we do that? That would be my thought process. But Smeagol instead, grabbing themselves a Phantom Assassin, another very versatile hero, as we've already seen once tonight. Saw Artyk actually do quite a good job with her. And Artyk's lanes, again, still quite ambiguous. Tri-lane of Visage, Nyx Assassin, and Gyrocopter would certainly be good. Stick the Clockwork in either mid and off lane.
Seconds remaining.
But against a Mag, Gyro can actually run in mid pretty reliably. And we're going to see the Prophet picked up. And obviously, that's a hero who does tend to want either the jungle or the offlane. They could just still decide to send the Clockwork mid and just jungle the Prophet, not even put him in the offlane if they're not confident about it. Smeagol's lanes seem to be a little bit more transparent. Phantom Assassin will need safe tri-lane farm. Shadow Demon will be supporting her. They're just going to be looking to grab another support here. Number of heroes available.
10 seconds remaining.
I would really like, honestly, I would like a Lion pickup here. Lion, I think, could be an excellent pick against a Phantom Assassin and against a Gyrocopter and against a Clockwork. They're going to go ahead and grab the Keeper of the Light. I was thinking they need more stun because this lineup from Artyk is a lineup that wants to fight. They've got a mass amount of range. They've got the global presence that a Nature's Prophet gives you. They're going to have excellent damage output between the Gyrocopter and the Visage in the mid-game, to say nothing of Nyx Assassin's ability to just burn down a single target at any given moment. And, facing up to that, it's not so much a push lineup. I mean, yeah, Prophet can push. Yeah, this lineup can push with Flak Cannon. Gyrocopter can melt creep waves. But, I guess having global presence of your own, the fact that Keeper of the Light can bounce heroes around with his ulti certainly does help. But looking ahead to the fights, I mean, they have a great lineup centered around that Magnus. They have great single target initiation or counter initiation in the Shadow Demon. And picking a Lion, I think, just would have been very nice. Having the two disables, the Earth Spike and the Hex, and more importantly, the single target damage that they get out of Lion's Finger of Death. But such is not the case. We are going to go ahead and load into the game and hopefully be underway. We do have a brief pause. While we are paused, once again, I want to remind everyone that you should hit follow. Just hit follow here on twitch.tv/American Dota League. Would love to have you back in the future. Long pause to accommodate an emergency, 5-minute maximum. Okay, I'll tell you what, since it's going to be 5 minutes, and I'm not a big fan of me just continuously talking for 5 minutes is the worst amount of time. I can't really put across a very complex thought or anything. It's not enough time for the stream lag, or the stream delay, I should say, to catch up where I can interact with you guys. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and take us back to the transition screen. We'll be right back with Artyk taking on Smeagol coming up next. And we're back after that brief little pause, and the in-game viewers actually got a nice little treat. Another good reason to own the ticket whenever we have pauses like that, and they'll know that they'll happen a lot more, but actually got to hear me and Conrad, the production guru, doing our thing, chatting behind the scenes. Then I got quiet because I was relaxing, giving my voice a rest, since I've been doing, seriously, since Tuesday. I want to say since Tuesday I've casted 20 games, maybe? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Yeah, that sounds about right. Something like that.
30 seconds to
But anyway, guys, welcome back in. Artyk versus Smeagol in our last series of the day here on the American Dota League. I'm Aaron AC Chambers, your host, casting by myself. Hopefully that's not too much of a deterrent. Hopefully, at least a few of you like the sound of what you're hearing. Side of Artyk, let's see who's playing who. Gonna have Mitsuko playing on our Nyx Assassin. Smash gonna be on Bulba here in mid. Now, Smash had an excellent game against the EG. Unfortunately, just not enough to get his team over the top as they fell in pretty short order. Mihawk gonna be handling the Nature's Prophet. Gonna have Masuko playing on the Visage with Iwo, farming up the Gyrocopter. On the other side of the river, we got Taku playing on the Keeper of the Light, the Lone Druid. Gonna be farmed out of the solo offlane by Back to Basics. Shadow Demon going to be played by Clouds. Dota Magnus going to be handled by Peachy here in mid, with AEI Onju here playing on the Phantom Assassin. Now here in mid, we've got Clouds, sneaky Shadow Demon that he is, hanging around to see if there's anything he can make happen. Not going to be the case. The Bear does manage to grab a creep wave, and talking about the counters and so on and so forth. The Bane not available, so much easier. And Back to Basics not going to be having the same problem our Lone Druid did in Game 1. Or the game before this, it was Game 4, I do believe, on the evening. Where you just had a Bane that was constantly nightmaring, and now we're going to have a Haste Rune here. And this could get very bad very quickly, depending on who they decide to engage upon. It's going to be the Nyx Assassin with just level 1, and, offlane Nyx Assassin. This is something I don't know that I've seen. This is interesting. Nyx Assassin, one of the most level-dependent heroes until he hit 6 at the least. And, y'all, that's the worst possible luck. Spin his Impale, and there's a Stifling Dagger. Just spin his spell. Gonna have to loop back around to the Dyer's side. Here comes the Keeper of the Light. And actually skilled first point into Mana Leak. That, kids, is why you don't put your first point in until you know where it belongs. And they're gonna get first blood because of this. That right there should be. Nope, maybe not. He's gonna continue to run. And wow, they almost got him. Didn't notice he didn't have enough mana for the Blink Strike. He probably would have pursued if he did. But at any rate, Nyx makes it back just barely. But there's a great example. They almost got the first blood just by the skin of his teeth as Nyx Assassin make it away. All because Taku did not just immediately run the lane and skill Illuminate. And doing the little things right. That's what elevates your play. Holding on to that point till you absolutely 100% have to have it. You never know what you're going to need. Almost the difference maker. And the bear taking a little bit of abuse here, but for the most part, taking a look at back to basics. He's already 2.5. So, certainly not going to be another game where we have a level 1 lone druid in the game in 5 minutes. Up atop, we can see the farm going about as expected. Actually, PA did waste some time chasing that first blood out. And because of that, is slightly behind, is being doubled up by Ewo, who has just comfortably been able to farm under his own tower. Now, one of the awesome things about the way a gyrocopter works against 2 heroes in particular, the Lone Druid and the Darkseer, is that both of those heroes tend to manipulate creep waves whenever they're up against a tri-lane. Darkseer, well, in a one-on-one situation at least, which is essentially what this is right now, with Ewo soaking up as much experience by himself as he can. The Prophet in the jungle. I'm still a little iffy on why they decided to send the Nyx Assassin here, but they can't control the creep equilibrium. It's not going to hurt him. If they're just going to shove a creep wave to him, yeah, he'll be able to hang around. His tower's going to take some damage with the creep wave coming up. That's a lot of XP he just got. He's going to hit level 3. And yeah, that's a little bit of poor lane management, really, out of Smeagol. No other way to say it. But in theory, that shouldn't be working as well. But back to the gyro and how he functions in one-on-ones. If you have a lone druid who's cutting creeps, pulling your creeps back, he's one of the few heroes that can actually cope with that very effectively just with his own innate skill set. Between Flat Cannon and Rocket Barrage in particular, he could just melt down a creep wave. So, for example, if the druid does what he's been doing, grabs a creep wave, pulls it all the way, let's see if I can continue to draw, all the way back up to his tower, that's going to allow his creep wave to run right into this tower, which, you know, makes it a little uncomfortable. You're trying the last hit and pull him past the tower, maybe you miss a couple, whatever. And what Gyro can do, just to keep the creep equilibrium where he wants it to be, as he is going to eat a homing missile, but that's okay. The Gyro can just let him fall back to right about here. And then just use Flat Cannon and Rocket Barrage. And not have much of a problem melting down creep waves. And he can do that against the Darkseer as well. Darkseer, of course, a hero who loves to be cute, come here, pull the creeps back, and relying on Surge as an escape mechanism. But just a fun fact, one of the other reasons, and again, I said during the draft, Gyro's just one of the most versatile heroes in the game right now. And teams prioritizing him pretty heavily for very good reason. Excellent magic damage output in the early game and in the mid game. And then he's a lot like Tiny in a way. Very much a peak and valley hero. Very much a hero who has a lot to contribute, but it just contributes in different ways. But there is a period of downtime. Basics taking some damage from Flat Cannon. But yeah, contributes in different ways at different stages of the game. So you have to manage that. You have to plan for that. Otherwise, you wind up with this very long down period, especially given the way you build Gyro, which is almost always going to be survivability, unless you're AOE 2000. Then you just build Shadow Blades and get your BKB at 40 minutes. But for the vast majority, you're going to build him survivable. And then when his magic damage starts to feel less threatening, when the enemy carry starts picking carry and off carry start picking up BKBs and such, then he just feels kind of weak and kind of easy to shove around. But if you have a lineup like Artyk has, where you're going to have a variety of ways to get into fights, to start fights, you're going to have the Nyx Assassin's ability and burst damage to help pick you up. Visage is an excellent hero, contributes to push and contributes to the team fight. And just single target damage, single nuke that he can drop. They've got ways to buy him time. And getting him off to a great start in the early game is certainly the first step in making sure that doesn't happen. We had a near first blood on the Nyx Assassin. Since then, been pretty all quiet on the Western Front. Smash is level 6, though, and he's going to find an invis. And that's immediately pinged out. Looks like that was the Magnus that pinged it. So they know it happened. They know he's got an invis, so they're going to be playing pretty careful. This Druid really is lucky he's not a target right now. That Clockwork, given how low this tower is, that Clockwork could have very easily pulled back to right here, activated the invis, crossed back over, and then positioned himself right here for a dive. But not going to be the case as Artyk. Taking it easy, not getting too complicated with things. Druid is soaking up some good experience from this. They are going to end up getting the tower just about as soon as they want it. But it's not going to come for free. His farm, not spectacular, but 10, all things considered, could be much, much worse, given he has had to account for the mobility of a Prophet the entire game. And yeah, now we're going to see it's actually going to be Visage. He's going to be spotting back to basics. There's the Bear recalled, and he's going to be forced off. He's level 4, the Visage, just level 3. So caught out, trying to set up a dive after this tower was going to drop, and they're going to go ahead and go for it anyway. Never mind. Just going to make sure he zones him off the tower, doesn't allow him any chance. And wow, Peachy's actually getting the first blood in mid in the meantime, as Cloud Dota hooked up and managed to get the kill on the Clockwork. That's a big kill, really. Clockwork mid, the reason you run the Clock mid above other heroes in a lot of cases is Clock is one of those heroes that with a good start, you know, and a good start doesn't just mean he gets his levels, doesn't die, and has some farm. Good start is get some levels, doesn't die, has some farm, but also is able to get a couple of early kills under his belt. A Clockwork that's able to do that can take a game over. He can just flat out dominate in any setting. Initiation, counter-initiation, ganking, doesn't matter. So being able to kill him off there and slow him down is actually going to eliminate the possibility of that happening. Now, it's not to say that Smash is going to be bad or he's going to be behind the whole game, but he's not going to be ahead. That's the way to say it. It's not that he's going to be behind. It's that he's not going to really be getting ahead, which is always a liability with the Clockwork on the map, just because of how much individual skill influences the what a hero like that brings to the table. A few good hooks, good game sense, shooting through the trees. All of a sudden, you're 2-0, 3-0 after having solo mid, and the game can just get way out of hand. For now, though, Smeagol has the only kill on the board, and it was against that Clock. Back to the CS, AEI owns you is actually in great shape here, having caught up with that Gyro. Gyro did take a tower, so he and his whole team feeling a little bit more rich across the board. But was being doubled up at one point. Instead, has really been doing his job, and more importantly, totally alone. Totally uninhibited, no pressure. Taku is almost level 5, which is actually really, really good. Some very time-efficient jungling from him, just using Chakra and Illuminate. Now, this is another reason why I love the Gyrocopter, is his ability, even beginning early, to just duck into the jungle and flash farm. You know, it's one thing to duck in and farm the jungle, which every carry does. But the speed at which he can farm is really quite silly with maxed out Flat Cannon and maxed out Rocket Barrage, which he'll have in a few levels. For now, though, both teams really playing passively for the most part. We are seeing a little bit more movement, I think, out of Smeagol. But neither team wanting to commit much. Ewo, I'm going to go ahead and go with what is becoming more common and grab up the Helm of the Dominator. Love the Helm of the Dominator, especially against the lineup that Smeagol has, and they're going to sprout in back to basics. Here's the call down, and they get the Druid for free. Didn't cost them anything. But the Helm of the Dominator against the lineup that Artyk happens to have. And hang on, there's one of those hooks I was talking about. Smash going to be mana leaked, and he will be stunned. He does have a regen rune, though, and he's going to go ahead and use it.
And it's off.
But he just shot that to see if he was going to be safe, and we'll TP away. But anyway, getting that up, the bonus armor he's going to get against the physical damage, the single target DPS that he's going to be facing out of the PA, now the Lone Druid, always a nice call. Also lets them more reliably take stacked Ancients. And we can see both teams aware of that, obviously. Artyk trying to stack them, but the ward out right here going to block that. Allows him to grab that little creep too, so little creep can stack, pull back, don't even have to waste any time, don't have to have a support doing it, nothing. Just a great early game item. And he's got Aqualay as well, so he's actually rocking some pretty impressive armor. And that is so smart. That is such a smart choice from Artyk. And, you know, it seems obvious, but, you know, it's so standard to just go Treads or even to just go Helm and then go, okay, I get Helm, now I'll just rush the BKB, which honestly wouldn't be all that valuable against the enemy team anyway. Just negate some Shockwave and some Illuminate, which is nice. But given that they do have 2 carries that are sole single target physical DPS, having the armor from that, I mean, really rocking some nice armor. 11 and a half minutes into the game, and he's got 17 armor. That is excellent. He is not going to feel much pressure at all. The Nyx Assassin has found his level 6 as well. Smash at level 8. And how about we just look at him like this? There we go. Gyro on top of the board. He's sitting at 10. A lot of 9s behind that. 2 of them belonging to Smeagol. The Climate will be there soon. Take a look at Mag. And at least in terms of CS, Mag sitting where he wants to be. He's actually, wow, a lot closer to his Blink Dagger than I assumed. That gank in mid really did free him up a bit. He wasn't getting beat or kicked around or anything, but he's made up some great ground. So mechanically, all of these players doing their job. But still, 12 minutes in, and only 3 kills on the board. Very, very quiet game. Not a lot of movement coming out of either squad, especially given the teams they have. Might change now that Mag gets his Blink Dagger. Phantom Assassin, banking some gold, has her phase boots up. She has to have an item on the way. Has to. Yeah, there you go. Drums. I was going to say, she has to have something on the way. Way too big. Finishes her poor man's shield and picks up a raw set of drums. And doing the Loda build. Not to say Loda invented it, but Loda is popularizing it as of late. Phase boots, drums, we'll see if he goes the full Loda. You always go full Loda, man. Gotta go full Loda. But getting the BKB immediately afterwards. And just relying on coup de grace and good level gain. The fact that she will have level 2 coup de grace soon to be her source of damage. And, you know, talking to a number of pro players about PA, some of them still agree that a Battle Fury can be okay, but most of them will tell you, you just don't need it all. It's just not... Wow, what a reaction! Taku's going to be able to get away, and everyone in the world showed up to punish Artyk for that. Mihawk actually given a bit of a reprieve. He'll be cleaned up, I'm sure. And for now, though, Artyk just has a bit too much damage. Little bit of a miscommunication there. And went after the Prophet, got the Prophet. They brought the house that time. And Artyk is going to go ahead and D-ward for now. And Taku actually managed to make it away there as well, so it was a raw 2-4-0. Gyro showed up to do some damage. But they still got the 2 targets they were after. Really nice. And, you know, that right there reminds me so much of Dignitas and how they play. And I talk about that all the time whenever I cast Dignitas. You know, I try to go over key points, things that define certain teams and how they play and why they're considered so good. That right there was a Dignitas reaction. Soon as they spotted, they were committed. Soon as they spotted the 2 were committing to 1, they pulled the trigger and the whole damn team showed up. No hesitation, great communication. And utter domination. 2-3. The gold currently in favor of Artyk, but arcing downwards a bit. The experience after that debacle over at the tier 2 bottom for Artyk has actually dipped back down in favor of their opponents in Smeagol. Now, Mag, under cover of an invis, going to look to make something happen here. As his Blink Dagger doesn't even need it. Taku doing the rave dance. That's what I always think of when I see heroes doing the attack animation cancel. Doing the rave dance, man. Especially him. Look at that. That's the rave dance. But, again, I'm a little surprised that Artyk in particular. They have such an aggressive team. With the Prophet, the Clockwork, the Nyx Assassin, the Visage. And they're just not doing anything with it. Mihawk, haven't talked a whole lot about his items. He does have his Midas. He will be getting himself a Shadow Blade as well. No surprise. Pretty typical stuff now out of the Prophet. AEI Unju. That's 1,500 gold in the bank. We'll see. Mithril Hammer is actually a fairly common choice on a PA doing this build. Another good ward. That's a really good one right there. Did it safely. Didn't take the obvious path. And gonna block this from being stacked more. And right there, you can see. Already starting to do so. Not gonna stack. Sorry, guys. And that should tip him off, actually. I mean, I guess they can assume it's just good luck. And Smash gonna engage. Comes through the Illuminate. Drops the cogs. And he's gonna be brought down by the Prophet ulti. There's gonna be a disruption. And Gyrocopter ready to re-engage. Smash gonna be caught. AI owns you. Gonna commit. And what the hell was that? I know what it was. Rocket Flare. He went to blink. Did not double check that he could. Rocket Flare. That right there was a total save from either Rocket Flare or Flat Cannon. It was one of the two. Not sure which, but I can tell you exactly what happened. Tried to blink. Had his blink dagger on cooldown from Rocket Flare, from Smash, or from the Flat Cannon. Could not do so. And therefore, totally and utterly whiffed on the RP. Now, as this tower drops, guys, I'm not going to lie. My headphones came unplugged, so I'm going to fix that real quick. Hang on.
Dire's middle tower.
There we go. Total professionalism. There's just no way to cast without sound, by the way. I've had to do it a couple of times when things go wrong and there's just no way to fix it in the fly. You have to wait between games. It is amazing how much casters rely on sound, because your eyes can only watch so much, but I can hear things happening and call those things out during the play-by-play, even if I'm not looking at them. And it is so confusing and disorienting to try and cast a big team fight without that. But anyway, 6-3, Artyk with a big win on the board. And Smeagol, just a little bit outplayed there, to be honest. It was just really well done. Smash hit a great hook. And Artyk wants to continue to roll with that momentum. Putting pressure on the tier 1 top. Not going to be any reaction. Even have the Visage Familiars there to help things out. Down that goes.
Dire's top tower has
So
fallen.
they pull back. Mihawk does have a Shadow Blade now. Taking a look at the raw net worth. Top 2 on the board belong to Artyk, the Prophet, and the Gyrocopter. Keeper of the Light almost done with his mechanism. That's going to be really important for them to weather the storm that Artyk's going to be able to bring on him. The Druid is becoming a very important hero. Doesn't have his armlet up yet. And that's, I mean, obviously bad. Doesn't even have phase boots up on the bear yet. He is way behind. 4,300 gold. He's being doubled up by Gyro at this point. And again, the way Gyro built, I love it. He's going to go, I think he's going to straight, yeah, he's going to straight MKB. They're going to want to close this game out sooner rather than later. And that is fascinating. But it's smart. Again, I covered, you know, the fact that they have Shockwave and Illuminate. That's the magic damage. Where's their disables otherwise? And beautiful engagement. Look at that. I mean, I couldn't even call it out. Dead so quick, it just didn't matter. Another good hook, call down, Flat Cannon. And the team just evaporates. 14 and 13, the top levels on the board, and we can already see SMG not just falling behind in gold, but in experience as well. Coming up on 7,500 gold, 7,500 experience, just about. But again, you know, with RP going through BKB, they have Mana Leak, Disruption, and that's it so far as disabled. So why invest in the BKB? It's a really clear thought process out of EWO, and not complicated. Just something that a lot of players, even pro players, will occasionally not think all the way through. There's the MKB done. He's going to be hitting so freaking hard, man. It is ridiculous how hard that Gyro is going to be hitting. They want to take a fight. Mag doesn't want his Blink Dagger pop. Now, this is one of the responsibilities of a Gyrocopter in team fights at the pro level. Finding that Mag, getting off the Rocket Flare, and putting his Blink Dagger on cooldown. We just saw it there. There's the hook! Came in and got him, but the RP went off. They managed to get a couple. Gonna clean one up. Masuko gonna be skewered back. Smash is still up. Mihawk's still up. They're gonna be able to kill the Mag off. The Druid's gone because the Gyro's hitting like a freaking truck. And that's gonna be a full wipe. They'll be able to catch him, I would imagine. They're gonna smoke just to have better move speed. And nope, never mind. They are gonna back off. Homing missile. Gonna chase him all the way back. Don't think it's gonna be able to catch him. I'm gonna watch it anyway, just in case. There's the Rocket Flare. They're gonna try to time it up. Disruption. Beautiful from Cloud. And he does manage to survive. Not taking any chances. That was a from downtown homing missile. So, tier 2 ends up dropping. And that Gyrocopter is a man-child. Again, opting to skip the BKB, go directly for damage, showing a strain. 241 damage 20 minutes into the game is kind of just ridiculous, okay? Like, really. Like, I mean, he's hitting for hard, like, he's hitting as hard base as AEI owns you. Let me do some quick math. Yeah, like he's hitting it as hard base, just about as hard base as AEI owns you would at level 1 crit against his armor. Anyway, here we go. And Smash is going to be picked off again. Smeagol trying to take a fight. Here comes the call down, and look at the damage! Gyrocopter. The terror in the skies, raining down death and destruction, and gets a little help from Furion. Furion, KS, bro. Come on. BM. 17-4. And Roshan next on the kill list. Next on the KOS list.
Incoming.
Artyk dominating this game. I am impressed with this Artyk squad. I just am. Even the games I've watched them lose, I feel like they played well. And I feel like they have really shown some great insight, some great understanding of the game.
To the Radiant.
The ability to take, and they're entertaining to watch. You know, from a caster's point of view, like, objectively, I sit back and say, well, let's talk about the top teams on the planet, you know, going by the statistics, KDA, the average number of deaths fed for no reason. Yeah, we can do that. But there is an element of showmanship, and I feel like Artyk just has that something. And you can't even call it high risk, high reward. I think they're a team of players that are looking for big plays. That's what I think it is. Very opportunistic squad. And it is a lot of fun to watch. Back to poor AEI Onju. He's going with that Battle Fury. And don't know that's the right call. Gonna try to farm his way back in, I suppose. Ewo, in the meantime, just cleaning house. That's the last outer tier tower gone now for Smeagol. And, wow, Mihawk just got a kill over here. That Druid down again. Can't overstate how important this fight here was, by the way. That fight that occurred here when Magnus had his Blink Dagger on cooldown, either by Flat Cannon or by... And that's something that's actually worth mentioning, by the way, that I very often gloss over and just showed itself in this game. Flat Cannon isn't just good for damaging supports, as in, like, let's kill them. Against initiators with Blink, Flat Cannon's excellent. It is one of the best abilities in the entire game when dealing with Blink initiators. And yeah, that just happened. Rapier. Yeah. It's a rapier. Ewo making his way to mid, carrying the sharp piece of metal. And he's, I don't know, hitting 600 damage. This is going to be so ugly. This is going to be so disgusting. He's going to go ahead and come forward and reveal it. Look at that. Clonk, clonk. Oh, that is unfortunate. Does have some lifesteal as well. Going to walk right into an Illuminate. Does have the Aegis, though, and they're just going to look to close this out. Scythe of Ice done on the Prophet as well. The Druid. Did the Druid ever even get his armlet? He did. I didn't see it. It must have come up in a fight or something. Poor Druid. Poor PA. Should have gone BKB. Don't know that it would matter at this point. They do have some things that you would like to be BKB'd against. Fall down, Rock Barrage, etc. Sieging from the low ground. No miss.
Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
With that MKB, Gyro is like Princess Leia in Star Wars. He just doesn't miss. He will get RP'd, though. Skewered back. And let's see if they can get him. Get the Aegis at the very least. Just look at the raw damage. Nothing but Flat Cannon. That's a team gone. Triple kill. No surprise going the way of Ewo. Basically didn't care to get RP'd. It's like, you better kill me. You better kill me. Any of you folks who GG comes out. Any of you folks who watch Archer will get that. You better kill me. Vengeance is mine, thus saith Ewo. But I'm sure there better be at least a couple of nerds out there who got my awesome joke, by the way. And I am so using that on the D2L. So, not tomorrow, next week, I am so dropping that line on the D2L because that is so good. Gyro with the MKB. He's like Princess Leia in Star Wars. He just doesn't miss. There are some nerds who get that. And I would high-five you because, damn it, that is clever. That is clever. 25 minutes, 27 seconds. The final kill score. Very lopsided, 23-4, as we put this game behind us and put today, this broadcast, in the books. Once again, want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of the broadcast. This one comes to a close. Artyk getting the best of Smeagol. They walk away with one win on the day, dropping their other series. EG managing to go 3-0 on the day, beating Artyk, Team Liquid. They didn't play Smeagol. Who did they play? I have to check it. Team Liquid and Pain. I'm still learning the names. It's still, give me time. Give me another week. We'll have it down. EG walks away going 3-0. Team Liquid split their series 1-1. Pain Gaming came up short in both of their series, unfortunately. And Artyk Gaming ends up going 1-1 as well. Smeagol walks out with the bagel. Big fat 0. Still an entertaining game, nonetheless. Make sure you hit follow, guys. Would love to have you back here on twitch.tv/American Dota League. Gonna be bringing you the action in the evening hours of the United States and South America. Not just the United States. Canada's involved. Central America, Mexico, so on and so forth. But the Western Hemisphere, there we go. The later hours of the Western Hemisphere countries by and large. I want to have you back for all of the action. Next broadcast will be tomorrow, kicking off at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 1900 Central European Standard Time. Going to have 6 best of ones. And don't have the full schedule in front of me. I do know we lead off with Insight versus Phoenix Esports to get things rolling bright and early, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm Aaron AC Chambers. You can also follow me on Twitter. It's @AC, @AYESEE, and on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/ACTV. You can also find various links to my other media as well, YouTube, Facebook, you name it, ACTV, the name you need to search. Alrighty, guys. Gotta go ahead and close the book, close the door, close whatever other tired metaphor I can dig up after a